Fucking the UV TV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. Oh God. Neon nigga fulfilling me, yeah. And today I'm gonna be talking about bad bitches, just in general, right? Bad bitches are just bad witches, bro. So from bad bitches being just bad witches, it's like an energy signature and stuff like that. Because I know motherfuckers gonna be looking at this video and they all like, oh, this motherfucker still being pseudo and shit like that, talking about some bad bitches. And he trying to understand instead of being a bad bitch is no, we know when we see a bad bitch because of this, then the third. Okay, a bad bitch is just a bad witch, just in general. Now, once they give their power away, once they start being too criticizing or overly complaining or overly bitchy and stuff like that, or ruining something, aka like spoiled milk type of energy and stuff like that, right? Just in general, overall, bad bitches are just bad witches. And I'm gonna just break down the whole energy signature of what a bad bitch really is and how they can actually take that power control back to where they can be good witches in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Bro, like I don't like how y'all be looking at shit based upon like morality and based upon things that are good and bad. So don't even take it like how I'm saying right now when it comes to bad bitches. And then y'all turn that into a morality, ethical, good and bad point of view and stuff like that when it's really like a polarity between yin and yang, like positive, negative, polarities and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So just in general, for me even explaining it like that, the reason they a bad bitch in general is based upon the intentions to why they're doing it. So yeah, a bad bitch is just a bad witch, and it's just a bitch slash a witch that make you do bad things. So based upon the intentions to why they're doing that, and they're tempting you into that vibe or that emotion and feeling stuff like that, because we all know females are emotional and stuff like that. They have to contain it and put it in a womb because they got a womb. So just in general, it's not to say that niggas can't play out this energy. That's why we have motherfuckers who be saying shit like, I'm a bad bitch, and painting their nails and doing their edges and all type of shit. They can still act like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still act out the energy signature. You probably gonna emasculate yourself trying to do all that shit though. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just in general, from playing out the whole energy signature in itself, right? Being a bad bitch, it's just you being a bad witch. So it's just a witch making you do bad things. And a witch is just a female sorceress. So them being the source for that vibration, female energy, aka from them having a womb, and they like to produce that darkness. They like to produce something that puts you in a container, and they like to tempt you into thinking otherwise and stuff like that. Because the masculine, feminine, divine, masculine, divine, feminine, look at that as like the divine ego, the heavenly ego or expression, right? And from a more higher point of view, or the positive point of view of how you can look at that as the divine masculine stuff like that, that's like expression, expansion, externalizing, acting on something. You know what I'm saying? Making it be seen above the horizon. Something that's below the horizon is more the divine feminine and stuff like that. So that's like being nurturing, caring, and motherly, and emotional intelligence, and going based upon you nurturing and caring and supporting whatever your ego is doing. So that's like you going that's like you going through that process of what y'all be calling like ego death. Now, it's not to say that your ego is dying, because you're always gonna have an ego. You know what I'm saying? You're always gonna have an individuality. You're always gonna have a light. You're always gonna have like an emanation. You're always gonna be seen and have a representation of how your character is based upon your different characteristics and a mannerism. Mannerism is just the isms in the quality state of being of your men and women and stuff like that. So it's a mental thing first. The men would be like the thoughts and ideas. The women would be like the feelings and emotions. So your Adams and your Eves. You get it? So it's something that's dawn or daybreak until dusk in the twilight zone. So like how the sun rises and you see it above the horizon and stuff like that, that's like the masculine energy. Above the horizon is seen. And then something that's unseen or like hidden or in darkness or the nighttime is like the below the horizon concept or the twilight zone or the feminine energy. So it's the accumulation of what happened, of what got seen, and then now that light is starting to become heavy, and now it's starting to become unseen. Look at light like, oh, the lighter shape and form, and it's lightweight, it's not as heavy. And then look at it being an accumulation of that, aka darkness, as the accumulation of light, which is just darkness, which is just heaviness. So it's more heavy. So it's something that's harder to see. It's like clouded judgment and stuff like that. So during the daytime, it's more clear skies, and you can see the sun. And then when you can't see it, you can't see the sun, and it's more that nightshade at nighttime and stuff like that. And when everything is dark, That'll be more of the feminine energy because you're putting it into a container. You're putting it into a womb to make it harder for you to see, so you can see the direction you want to go in and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So from a metaphorical, allegorical perspective, that's all that is when it comes to the masculine and feminine, and it just gets manifested and materialized into how y'all look at men and women, male and female, based upon the different reproductive organs, and then what y'all be calling the father and the mother, and them being the patriarch or the matriarch. Y'all just trying to explain energies y'all already be playing out internally, which is things that are getting emanated within the mind based upon the space or the spirit or the state of being that you in. So, based upon you being an entity in existence, your own subjective point of view from your own state of being, we all objectively make the world. We make the world, and we make the spirituality in a sense. So, the spirituality of it is just the multitude of different spaces of the accumulation of what we are doing, so we can make the world be seen that way. And we all got our own faiths, we all got our own beliefs, we all got our own outlooks and worldviews and stuff like that. So from us coming together, teamwork at the dream world, we make the world based upon our own subjective worldview, and it's gonna go from there. Now there's things based upon how we in the world right now, like the external world, like on Earth and stuff like that, right? How of us being on Earth and like the sun and the moon, the atmosphere, and the plants growing, the seasonal transitions, that's something that happened beyond just humans, right? And that process was going on before you came along and things of that nature. So it's not no thing where, oh, the sky gonna turn red one day because of this, then, a third, or we gonna make some technology to block out the sun. I hope to God y'all don't make some technology to start blocking out the sun and stuff like that. But yeah, it's always gonna be in those different pockets, and it's always gonna go through those seasonal transitions, and it's always gonna go through those you know what I'm saying? Like those different sun pockets and moon pockets and phases and stuff like that. That's always an ongoing, natural, and organic type of thing. And clearly that's something that happened before we came along and stuff like that, because it's not like no thing like we're controlling that. No, it's always gonna do that thing, and then we're just calculating it, and we trying to understand the world that we in based upon our human comprehension and intelligence and stuff like that the best way we can through different civilizations, and then we got to where we got now, not the other way around, where motherfuckers gonna start getting to that scientific methodology concept and stuff like that, and they're just trying to make some science just means technology. They're just trying to make some new technology to be seen a certain way of how it can apply to the external world, like it's not no thing that naturally and organically got created, not something that got made in a lab or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So the original starting point, right, from bad bitches being bad witches. So from bad bitches being bad witches is just a female sorceress making you do bad things. So, like I was saying before, the men and women and stuff like that, you could look at men being walking frequency. So the frequent ability of how you're able to do something, and then making it be seen, and then women would be walking vibrations, the walking emotion and feeling. So the whole thing is like a mechanism and like a process. You have an idea, an ideology, and then you start to think about it, aka have different thought forms about the original idea, and then it starts to transmute into a feeling, because after thinking about it long enough, eventually it's going to turn into a way of feeling about it, but you probably don't have no specific feeling. You just feeling things and stuff like that. You're trying to understand what's going on, and it's going to turn into emotions, and then that's why I like to call a specific feeling. A specific feeling is just an emotion, and it's the thing that's essentially moving, emotion. That's why I like to call it, to make it simple. So the whole thing is like a process. So women or females or people who like to internalize a lot of the different things, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter what gender you is, right? You like to internalize a lot of things. It's based upon the emotions and the feelings, and then the men or the masculine, or you know what I'm saying, the externalizing energy of not holding on to something is based upon you creating it, and then based upon what's being created, that's the masculine, the men, and then the things based upon creation, that's more of like the feminine or the female and stuff like that, the accumulation of what got created. So so females like to pay attention to the creations of things, and then men like to pay attention to the overall creator, like who created that in the first place, who was the author, who was the you know what I'm saying, like who was like the author, the authorship, who was the pioneer of that and stuff like that. That's why when women start to play that out, they like to separate and stuff like that. That's why they'll be like, oh, the women's NBA and stuff like that, and they was the pioneer for this and stuff like that. And then that's why when they have that whole dichotomy when it comes to the LGBTQ, man, that's a whole different video. But like, you know what I'm saying, like that's a whole different video for real. But y'all get the sentiment that I'm trying to put out there, and like y'all get like the main thing that I'm trying to say to make it make sense. So it's based upon men like to find some new type of awareness, and then women like to attract based upon the awareness that already got made of what we're paying attention to. So it's gonna widen up or expand that attention span. So from you expanding it, that's more of like the masculine type of energy, like I was saying before, expression, expansion, externalizing. So from them trying to be out of something outside the box is based upon that awareness, and based upon that awareness is based upon the attention you're putting into it. You're putting into it. So it's just the attention span. So the intentions and you know what I'm saying, like the intentions, the first intent, and like the fatherly light or whatever and stuff like that. So the fatherly energy is kind of like the furthest, the 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 farthest, the farther, the fatherly energy is basically like the furthest direction, or the way I like to look at it. So the same way how niggas have the reproductive organ when it comes to their dick and balls and their genitals and stuff like that. Oh, they need to be a man. They like to drop dick. They like to uh hang their nuts and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? So from them being into that type of energy, right? They like to be chauvinistic. They like to be built. They like to be muscular. They like to be mentally fit for a job and things of that nature, right? Which adds on to the feminine type of energy. Okay, they have a womb. So they like to contain whatever the attention and awareness is going on. That's why y'all be having arguments about, oh, we live in a patriarchy type of world and stuff like that, and the men doing this and the men doing that, and things of that nature, because y'all are way more into the emotions and feelings, and y'all way more into attracting things, but you can't get attraction without paying attention to something. So it's a mechanism, it's a process. So it's something that's gonna be the second coming, or something that comes after that. It comes after the awareness and what you're paying attention to, and then it's going to start to turn into the attractiveness. You're going to draw people to what other people, you know what I'm saying, you're going to draw people to what is being paid attention to. So it's like the men are going to put out the awareness or the thing we need to pay attention to based upon the sentiment, and then the woman, they're going to support whatever is being built and created, whatever we're all paying attention to, and they're going to attract people to it. So that's why they always try to be on some, oh, we're going to try to have some type of lookership or some type of imagery so people can pay attention to this. And then niggas like to be in a provider, protector type of perspective and stuff like that. That's why y'all come up with trad wife or trad husband type of concepts and stuff like that of the traditional man of, oh, you need to be the protector and the provider. You need to correct something. You can't worry about your mental health and stuff like that. You ain't supposed to worry about how it look. You just need to be in a state of being of creating something so you can be a man and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like all this trickle down into like how society is constructed today to why they have certain things like that. Which is why they always have like the man boy symbol and stuff like that being the direction going out. You know what I'm saying? Outside the box, externalizing. You know what I'm saying? Expanding. They like to be outside the box, and then the woman, it'd be like that pink Venusian symbol and stuff like that of it going down. So it like to depress things. You know what I'm saying? Because if you feeling down, you like feeling depressed. Look at depression like condensing something, or something that's like deep. It's going in depth. It's not surface level. It's not shallow. So it's the same it's the same process. Something that's above the horizon, and then it starts to condense and turns into a container and starts to become below the horizon. It's getting depressed. It's going in depth and stuff like that. It's going through a depth. It's going through something that's temporary. It went from a broad direction and is not broad no more. It's not broad. It got condensed into something that's smaller. So a heavier shape and form, and things of that nature. That's why I even broke down earlier where I was like, oh, look at light, like, oh, the lighter shape and form, and then it turns heavy and things of that nature. So that's why a lot of niggas, they like to lightly talk over things for the most part. They're not caring about the emotions and feelings. They just want to talk about the thoughts and ideas of the thing that's going on at hand, and they ain't trying to receive or be in their feelings about shit, because they're not trying to be too predicate on that, because it's not calling for the situation. That's like you being in a fucking like a catastrophic moment, or like a tower moment or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you going through a lot of things, and based upon you being too in your feelings, you're gonna be over analyzing, you're gonna be over receptive, overly receiving all these different energies, and then is, you know what I'm saying? Like the wave is the whole like emotional reactive consciousness wave is gonna make you overwhelmed and stuff like that. It's gonna make you overreact. There ain't the time for that. You need to lock in. You know what I'm saying? You gotta lock in and just take what's going on in hand and then worry about it later. So niggas like to be in that perceiving, externalizing perspective, and then women, they like to be in that receiving, internalizing perspective. You get it? You know what I'm saying? I have to explain all this as a dichotomy. So the minute I start talking about bad bitches and things of that nature, you get where I'm coming from to how it even get manifested to how y'all look at that whole energy signature in itself. So from bad bitches being bad witches, it's just a female sorceress, aka a witch, but they're just making you do bad things. Look at bad things like the negative. So it's like a polarity thing. Look at men like walking positivity. They like to be broad about something, right? They don't like to put it in a container. And then the negative is them putting it into a container and stuff like that. That's why when motherfuckers be holding on to things, right? You know what I'm saying? Like negative energy is like you holding on to something. It's like a grudge and stuff like that. You don't know how to let it go. So niggas like to just let things go. But if they go too far with that, that's when they start to let go of different responsibilities and stuff like that and being needed for something. And then that's what women help them for. They help them not go too far with something. And then men help women learn to let go of certain things, let go of certain emotions and feelings. Stop internalizing everything and expand it further. And then we do that from the inside and the outside. But you know what I'm saying? We do all that from the inside out, just in general. Internally, we like to expand upon these things. And then of the external world and things of that nature, right? We like to receive things based upon the external world. So that's like receiving money or things of that nature. But we all going through this mechanism and process. That's why I started going to that fire, water, air, earth concept when it comes to the elements. If we was talking about astrology and things of that nature, that's really a different video. But yeah, like fire would be like they're the internal expressors, right? And then you know what I'm saying? They like to take their internal realm and express it. Water signs would be the internal fillers and the emotional ones, because they like to soak into what they're already internalizing. So they like to turn their internal realm or their imagination or how they feel inside, and they like to soak into that. And then air signs will be they deal with the more external world. So from them dealing with the external world, they can communicate, and they like to externalize what's already being externalized. So they like to yap, they like to talk a lot. So the things they see of the external world, they like to talk about it more. And then earth signs, they're the external receivers or internalizer. They like to take things from the external world and receive something from it. So the whole thing is like a mechanism and process. So they like to take the yang realm or the external realm and receive something from it, and then it turns into a whole, you know what I'm saying? But back on topic, the same way how bad bitches are just bad witches, a witch is just a female sorceress. So from them being a source, right, that's them understanding their power. So women, when it comes to the attractive type of energy, because they always like being attractive about something. So from them always being attractive about something, they like to be walking vibrations. They like to be in an emotion and feeling a certain vibe. So they like to attract people into a specific vibe container to receive, or you feel something a certain way. It's just when it get played out in negative scenarios, that's like gaslighting. That's like guilt tripping. That's like you try to pull an emotion out of somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's like bitching or overly criticizing and complaining to pull that emotion and feeling out of them, because you want to see how they actually feel inside about something. That's why females don't like it when niggas be overly masculine. It don't necessarily got to be overly masculine. That's why they don't like when they don't know how to be vulnerable, or they ain't trying to show their vulnerability because they can't utilize it for something. They can't turn it into a darkness. They can't pull something from your internal realm and then point that out, and then now you gonna start to show your insecurity and stuff like that. And not insecurity like, oh, you're insecure about something like your appearance, or you know what I'm saying, about a particular way about how to go about something, like inner security. Okay, you have an inner security system. So if you have a good security system, you can't see what, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't see my internal realm. You don't know how I actually feel, because I actually have a good security system, and it's gonna take a lot of mental gymnastics and a whole bunch of different things for me to go through for me to actually reveal that, because I have strong mental resilience. I have strong mental fortitude. So I have a good inner security. And then the other side of how to look at insecurities is like how I just explained it. Oh, someone has an insecurity and things of that nature. Oh, that's exposed. Oh, inside you really feel emotionally damaged or chaotic when you don't have this thing, because you want to be seen in a certain way because it is in a third. You get it? So when females acting that temptress, foxy, siren, you know what I'm saying? Like attractive type of energy and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I could get super surface level with it. Oh, them showing their ass and titties. Oh, them showing the goods and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? OnlyFans creators, Sexy Red, how she expressed herself, for example, right? It's the same sentiment. That's why a lot of the time with people like Glorilla, like Sexy Red, like Megan Thee Stallion and stuff like that, right? Like that's why niggas be getting so mad because they're taking their feminine energy from them being a female sorceress or a bad bitch. They was able to masculinize it. They able to express it. They able to externalize it. So I know y'all gonna be like, oh, they act like a shrewish type of woman or like a whore or they act like a hoe and stuff like that. But that's them understanding their masculine side. They're not willing to. They're more willing to not. They're more willing to express it. They're not keeping it behind closed doors. They're not keeping it unseen. They're not keeping it hidden. They're making it be shown and things of that nature. So from them making it be shown, they're understanding the other side of that, just in general, which is actually a good thing because they already know how to be a female and be attractive because of this, that, and the third, right? And the more they know how to externalize that, you know what I'm saying? They know how to show that. They know how to utilize that when it comes to their individuality, not just something behind closed doors. That's you understanding the other octave. That's you understanding your full scope of your power. And then when it comes to men and the divine masculine and things of that nature, right? That's how they learn how to be more divine masculine energy and stuff like that. They learn how to be needed. So they learn how to take responsibility for something. They learn how to take accountability. They learn emotional intelligence. They know how to utilize their imagination. They know how to utilize their right brain. They know how to utilize their creativity and things of that nature. They ain't thinking just based upon the practicality of it, the logic of it, the you know what I'm saying, the articulation of it, of how it's communicating and stuff like that. Sometimes a motherfucker just trying to feel how you feel. You know what I'm saying? That's it's the same way how I could be explaining something based upon my own expression and things of that nature, right? And it comes off really passionate or really spontaneous and things of that nature, but I don't come off nonchalant and dry and overly logical and practical and things of that nature, even though everything I'm saying makes sense, but you feel what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? It's not just cut and dry like me reading like a PowerPoint presentation prompt and things of that nature. Like you can tell I'm actually putting effort into it. Like I'm putting passion into it. I'm putting expression into it. Like I actually give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? And then the other spectrum of that is like emotional accountability. Oh, okay, let me take accountability of motherfuckers got to feel of how I'm expressing myself. So let me put the emotional the motivation behind it, basically the intentions and the motivation behind it, the inspiration behind it. So in a nutshell, bad bitches are just bad witches. They're just a female sorceress. And I know y'all be throwing out the words, oh, okay, witchcraft. Okay, witchcraft is just bitchcraft. They know how to craft. They know how to craft reality based upon a certain emotion and feeling. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? They know how to take their internal energies and then make you think otherwise. They make you, you know what I'm saying? She just a bitch that make you do bad things, just in general. So just from her being a bad bitch, she know how to take her attraction type of energy and she makes you do negative or bad things or things that are uncertain. So it makes you do something that's not as positive. It makes you lose direction. It makes you feel. That's why men be saying shit like, "Oh, you making me feel tender. You making me weak," and stuff like that. Because niggas like to get hard. They like to direct shit and things of that nature, right? So they make them think otherwise. Like, "Oh, I was gonna go down this line of reasoning. I was dead set on this vision, and I had to stay on the straight and narrow. Then I met this bad bitch and stuff like that, and she made me think something else entirely. She indirectly did that shit. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is being indirectly direct. You know, some and things of that nature. Niggas just like to be direct and stuff like that, and then they end up changing their whole direction and get limp and stuff like that, and stop stop dropping their nuts about something because that one bad bitch, that one female, she made him think otherwise. Like literally, she made him think otherwise. So it's indirectly being direct, for the most part. Now, a bad bitch could make you do bad things, but there was a good intention behind it. See, now it's getting deep. You know what I'm saying? A bad bitch can make you do bad things or things that make you uncertain or things that are unseen and hidden and stuff like that. Or she make you recuperate. She make you do something based upon behind closed. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna use this as like a good example, right? That's like you about to crash out about something, right? From her being a bad bitch and being in a bad bitch position, she knows you better crash out and stuff and things of that nature. So she used her attractive, persuading, coercion and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? She used her her mystic ways to make you think otherwise and stuff like that. Look at that as like, oh yeah, if you don't do this, I promise you sex, or like, oh, I promise I support you if you don't crash out because I'm gonna help you with this, down the third, so you don't got to do that. So that's her utilizing that to make you do something that was bad, or look at that as like negative, make you more uncertain. You was certain about crashing out. Now she's making you think otherwise. So it's like that. She's making you get out that perception, get out that way of seeing it, get out that light, so you don't go too far with that. And she put you in a container. You know what I'm saying? It's like Gucci Mane white for the most part. You know what I'm saying? She's containing him. You know what I'm saying? She's desensitizing him. Oh, she's putting him on sedative and stuff like that, so he don't act all crazy and bipolar and things of that nature. AKA go too far with something because a nigga got mental health issues. I'm making that mad simple, surface level and stuff like that. It's the same thing. So, old lady making him stay in that container of just care about your music, working out, and your kids, and don't do nothing else to make you crash out and make you distracted or make you act all emotionally erratic and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Stay here in this condensity, this nurture, this thing you need to care for. You need to care about these responsibilities. You need to take accountability for this, that, and the third. You don't go out here just be doing buck wild shit because you ain't doing buck wild shit no more and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like doing that, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking all these hoes and you not being a married, compatible man because we're married. So now we move it as a unit. So I'm making sure that you stay as a unit and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really that simple though. It's really that simple. Like a bad bitch is just a bad witch. And based upon the example that I just explained, right? She using her bad bitch ways to make you think otherwise, but the intentions behind it was good. She did that so you don't go too far with something. But then at the same time, bad bitches could make you do bad things, and it's based upon the intentions of it being bad, aka it being negative, it being manipulative. Her doing it covertly. She's trying to manipulate the situation so it can lead to something that's self-serving, something that benefit her. So it's like some succubus type of energy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to drain you and utilize you of your energy. So it's like some energy vampire type of energy. So that would be like the negative octave of being a bad bitch. You get what I'm saying? So that's why when I said earlier with the whole morality thing, stop looking at it like when I say good and bad in that morality thing, when it comes to like the ethical way of how y'all be looking at stuff and stuff like that, stop looking at it like that. Look at it like a mechanism. Look at it like the masculine and feminine. Oh, good would be like masculine and then bad would be like feminine and things of that nature. Externalizing, internalizing. You know what I'm saying? Thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really just a state of being that you in when it comes to all that. And then you take that space, that essence, that substance, and then you turn it into a mentality, a mind, and then it gets produced into your organs, into the flesh, and then you carry that out into the external world. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So once they start to understand their own energy, right? This how you can learn how to transmute this in positive ways or negative ways. The negative ways was like how I just explained. Oh, they're doing it based upon bad intentions, so they like to give their power away. AKA look at that as them being overly needy, overly complaining, overly manipulative. Them always having to do manipulative, underhanded type of shit just to make you act right. But the only reason they acting like that is because they're doing something that's self-serving, not something to be of service or like a maiden to help everybody and not just yourself. So thinking about something beyond just you. So that's like a bad bitch who basically utilizing her temptress bad bitch ways to manipulate the situation. That's why motherfuckers be end up fucking her and stuff like that, and they end up doing a whole bunch of different bullshit, and then she end up taking advantage of them and things of that nature. And then they can use their bad bitch ways of adding more advantages, adding more abundance to it. You know what I'm saying? How her utilizing that, she was able to finesse a situation that actually could help y'all. And things of that nature. So that's kind of like you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like that Marvel movie when Black Widow first got introduced and stuff like that, and then she was the secretary, and yeah, from her being the secretary to Tony, the whole time she was Agent Shield, the whole time she was fed, the whole time she was inside on everything, but she was using her temptress, bad bitch ways from her being a very attractive woman to take advantage of the situation, and then you end up finding out, oh, her ass Black Widow. Oh, she can actually beat your fucking ass. Oh, she's actually a superhero. and stuff like that. And then she ended up playing you. You didn't even know that the entire time. You know what I'm saying? But you got so caught up in the fact of how she looked because she a bad bitch and stuff like that. So when bad bitches start to understand their own energy and things of that nature, that's how y'all can transmute it and have more power control, and y'all stop being in that overly criticizing, over complaining, overly giving your power away, overly trying to manipulate and try to be the sorceress, but you try to be the source. So that's like you being a goddess, but like goddess in the way of you being a deity. You're utilizing it based upon idol worship, and then you want people to feed into that idol worship. So from it being you, so it can feed to your ego and your delusions and stuff like that, because you got to be the baddest bitch with the fattest ass and all that type of shit. Nah, we crashing all that shit out. Stop it.